These are the steps you need to follow when evaluating a problem like this. The first thing you're going to do is find the LCD. So look for the least common multiple of the bottom numbers, 4, 10, and 20. When I look at the multiples, I can clearly see that 20 is the smallest number they have in common. The next step is going to be to rewrite each of these fractions in terms of the denominator, or your common denominator, 20. That means to make the 4 into a 20, I got to multiply this one by 5, and I'll do the same to the numerator. I'll take this denominator to make it into a 20. I got to times it by 2, so I'll do the same to the numerator as well. And now in the next step, I'm just going to simplify this. So when I multiply this out, I'm going to get negative 5 over 20. Again, don't forget your negatives. This is plus 9 times 2 is 18 over 10 times 2, which is 20. And then minus 7 over 20. So again, this is already written as a 20. That's my common denominator, so I don't have to do anything to this fraction. Next, we just combine. So negative 5 plus 18. These are opposites, which means I'm going to subtract these two numbers. And I'm going to get 18 minus 5, which is 13. Keep the same denominator, so 13 over 20. My answer, I have more positives, so my answer is going to be positive. And then I'm going to bring down the remaining part of my problem, negative or minus 7/20. And then I could either leave it like this, 13 minus 7, which is 6 over 20. Or if you rewrote the problem as addition, it'd be 13 over 20 plus negative 7 over 20 if you rewrite it as addition. And then when you follow the rules, adding the opposites, we subtract in this case, which becomes 6 over 20. And since I have more positives, I know my answer is positive. Next, in the very last step, you want to make sure your answer is simplified. And I can see these are both even numbers, so I know it's not fully simplified yet. So on the side, I'm going to do the prime factorization for 6 and for 20. So for 6, that would be 2 times 3. And then for 20, that would be 4 times 5. 4 is not prime, so that means I could break that up even more. So this would be 2 and 2. And then 5 is already prime, so I'll circle that one. And now I'm going to rewrite my fraction in terms of the prime factorization. So 6 is the same as 2 times 3. So I'll put 2 times 3. And then my 20 was 2 times 2 times 5. So this would be 2 times 2 times 5. And the definition of simplifying a fraction simply means you look for common factors between the numerator and denominator, and you want to eliminate them. So here, the only common factors I have is 2. So I'm going to eliminate that. And remember, when we cross these out, all we're saying is that 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this is really just 1 over 1. So that's why we don't really need it anymore. But then when I simplify this, you can see there's nothing else to... There's no other common factors left, which means I'm done. It's already simplified, so now I'm just going to rewrite it. So this will be 3 over, and then whatever. If you have more than one number, that means you got to multiply them together. 2 times 5 is 10. And this right here will be my simplified fraction. And there you have it. So when you evaluate a problem like this, you find the LCD by looking at the common multiples, the smallest common multiple. That's why it's called the LCD, least common denominator. Rewrite the fractions. And then you simplify by combining the numerators. Your denominator stays the same. Just don't forget to keep your signs, because a common mistake is you forget your negative signs. And then in the very end, you want to simplify your answer by using prime factorization. And then cross out the common factors. And then once you're done with the common factors are crossed out, you just multiply everything back together. So up here we only had 3. That's why we just stuck with 3. And we got 2 factors here. Multiply together gave us 10. So 3/10 is the final answer.